What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video I thought I'd do something different. I wanted to look at World Rugby Union. Now obviously there's so many countries that have registered rugby union players that we might not be aware of. There are teams like Russia, obviously we know Russia plays rugby, but we always focused on the top tier teams or even tier 2 nations because we know that those guys are up and coming, and we also know our main guys, the All Blacks, England, South Africa, you name it, all the big boys. It's our general focus. But what we haven't really wondered is how many registered rugby union players there are out there in this world. And you'll be surprised. So what we've done, top 20 rugby union countries with the most registered players, obviously with their world ranking combined with it. So if we look at number 20, we start off with Russia. They've got over 25,558 registered rugby union players. They rank 20th in the world. Now you think that's a lot, it's not bad. But Russia, so many registered rugby union players, yet they sit on the 20th in the log. Is there potential? And that's the thing that World Rugby needs to really look at. Is there potential? What's the opportunities that they can have in order to develop these rugby countries, introduce the game more and more to increase it, and to give them the opportunity to represent their country, to represent their provinces, or to go overseas and further their career? Because I think that's something that's an outlining point in this article that really surprised me. Canada, we know, has their rugby every now and then. They're ranked 23rd in the world, but current total union registered players over 27,512. Then we get to Madagascar. Now, you'd think maybe Canada or Russia would have more registered players, but no, Madagascar has more than them. And they're sitting at 51st in the world ranking. So that's a hell of a far way down compared to the two above. But they have 34,393 registered rugby union players. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? What can we do to introduce this game to the sport, to give them the opportunity of becoming on a little bit more of a competitive level, to give them the exposure that they need? Spain, ranked 18th in the world, so they're the highest so far that we've spoken about. 34,000 registered players. China, we know how big China is, ranked 80th in the world, yet they have 35,000 registered rugby union players. What can we do? You've got a big country like China. How can we introduce it? How can we grow? Surely there's money that can be invested in the sport to take it off, like what we've seen in Japan. Possibilities. Scotland, ranked 50 or number 15, ranked 8th in the world. They have 49,265 registered players. Not far off Japan, off China, but then you look at the ranking difference. Scotland's obviously got their history, Murrayfield, there's so much there. But when you look at a country like China, what can we do to introduce the sport, to give opportunities? Well, look at Kenya, 32nd ranking in the world, over 50,000 registered rugby union players. Sri Lanka, who would have thought? 47th in the world, have over 53,000 registered rugby union players. Sri Lanka, I know them for cricket, not for rugby. Amazing that they have so many registered players. We look at Wales, 6th in the world, 83,000 players registered. You've got Italy, 11th place is Italy. They've ranked 14th in the world. They've dropped quite a bit. 87,211 registered rugby union players. Look at the difference there between Italy and Wales. We all know Wales have had a good past 2 years and have shot up brilliantly. But Italy's got more registered rugby union players. Unbelievable stat. Ireland, first one passing the 100k mark. They got 101 or over 101,000 registered rugby union players. They're ranked 4th in the world. Argentina, 105,000 registered rugby union players, 10th in the world. Japan, 8th. They got over also 105, but with 693, and they ranked 9th in the world. A lot of registered players in Japan. USA, They're 7th. And when obviously I mean 7th out of the 20, they rank 16th in the world, but they have over 119,682 registered rugby players. Now we know that rugby is developing in the States, which is great, but they've got players. They just need to get them organized, formulate, invest to grow the sport. I always say there's potential in America, and I really do believe that. Fiji, 122,000 registered rugby players. They're ranked 11th in the world. Now we get to the big boys. We've got New Zealand, 150,727 registered rugby union players. They obviously ranked 2nd in the world. Coming in 4th place is Australia, 230,753 registered rugby union players. They ranked 7th in the world. England coming in 3rd place, 382,154 registered rugby union players. They ranked 3rd in the world. South Africa coming in 2nd place. They're obviously number 1 in the world, and they have a total of 405,000 registered rugby players. 405,000, I'm sounding like Jacob Zuma here, 438 registered rugby players. And now number 1, France, over 500,000. 542,000 registered rugby players, and they're ranked 5th in the world. Now, that is amazing for me, the stats that I had no clue about. But it's absolutely fascinating. But it makes you wonder. There are registered rugby players around. But when we go to Scotland, who we know have gone up and done extremely well the past few years, just less than 50,000 registered rugby union players. It's remarkable, the stats that we're seeing out of this. So for me, what can World Rugby do to make this game more global? They've got the players. They've got the potential. If a team like Scotland with under 50,000 registered players can do what they do, why not China? Why not the States? America. I mean, there's potential around this world. So yeah, something different out there for you guys. I mean, but there's some emerging nations that could become relatively strong in the years to come due to player numbers. And we've got to be alert for that, and we've got to be ready for it, and we've got to have a strategy in place in order to assist these guys and give them the momentum and the boost that they need in order to be stars, to be potential players. You know, those stats are just mind-blowing. And France, having so many out of all the top 20 unions that I've mentioned, to have so many is brilliant. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think World Rugby can do? I think there's potential to really take the sport into another level and make it a bigger global game. There is potential. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.